investment objectives and financial position. Active portfolio management does not guarantee a profit or protect against a loss in a declining market.
This program is paid for by JML Financial Group. All opinions or statements expressed on this program are solely those of JML Financial Group or their guests and do not reflect the views of WPHT or Odyssey. Today's program is pre-recorded.
The good and bad with home improvement projects. The good, you save a buck or two. The bad.
Kevin, there's no hot water.
So you move on to the car.
Kevin, what's with the car?
Good news, you can recover from these.
Kevin!
Well, most all of them. But when it comes to your retirement, a mistake can be devastating.
Call Joe Yakovich at JML Financial Group. He's been helping folks prepare for retirement for over 30 years. That's why he's able to correct your do-it-yourself problems before they're problems.
Get your complimentary assessment of where you are now and look at some of the retirement boxes you haven't even thought of.
Kevin!
You can't YouTube your retirement. Call Joe Yakovich at 856-925-6674 or visit jmlfinancialgroup.com. Securities and investment advisory services offered through Brokers International Financial Services, LLC, member SIPC. Brokers International Financial Services, LLC is not an affiliated company.
I'm Shanola Hampton. Every day, millions of people face hunger. Today, I will share with you some of their experiences. I'm stuck between paying for medications or paying for food. John from Maine. After paying my bills, I can buy groceries. It's sad to say, food comes last. Alice from Oregon. I thought pantries were for less fortunate people, but anybody could be less fortunate in a day or even a second. Claire from Virginia. The Feeding America network of food banks helps provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. No one should have to worry where their next meal will come from. Together, we can end hunger. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
Hi, I'm Judith Light. So there you are. It's flu season, and you're over 65 like me. You're having another busy year. So much to do, so many roles in life to play. But you feel like you might be forgetting something serious. Your annual flu shot. And before you know it, it's too late. It's not just the aches, fever, and chills that last for days and days. The flu can be life-threatening, especially if you have chronic conditions like diabetes and heart disease, which can worsen with the flu. Being active and healthy alone won't protect you. The immune system weakens with age, making you more susceptible to the flu. If you're over 65, ask about your vaccine options, including one made specifically for us. An annual flu shot is the best way to help keep the flu away. Visit the National Council on Aging at ncoa.org/flu to learn more and talk to your doctor or pharmacist about vaccine options for people 65 and older. Again, that's ncoa.org/flu.
As a doctor, I see patients every day who are losing their vision and independence to age-related macular degeneration, also known as AMD. It's the leading cause of blindness in adults 55 and older. Some of us are at greater risk for AMD. If you have blurry vision or blind spots, they can be symptoms of AMD. If left untreated, it can lead to blindness. The good news, with early detection, AMD can be managed with effective clinically approved treatments that can reduce or even reverse some vision loss. Learning that you have AMD can be scary, but there's hope and help. The Foundation Fighting Blindness is researching and developing treatments and cures for AMD. To get your free AMD information packet, contact the Foundation Fighting Blindness today at 1-800-BLINDNESS. That's 1-800-BLINDNESS. Join the fight against AMD, because together there is a cure in sight.
I remember the moment.
I'll never forget that moment.
That changed my life.
At that moment, it hit me. This is why I joined the Guard. We're soldiers, always ready to protect our country. But we've also got communities. Family, friends, neighbors who count on us. I couldn't believe it. I just saved a life to somebody from my hometown.
See what it means to be a citizen soldier at NationalGuard.com.
WPHT, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios, powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. It's Barry, Sable, and and Friends on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Well, good morning. You have tuned in to the Barry Sable Show with Friends on this Easter morning. On behalf of myself, Pac-Man, and my producer, Kirk, on the other side of the glass, we want to wish everyone a happy Easter and Passover, and always thanks for joining us. Hope you are having a great holiday. Okay, Pac-Man, let's tell them where we are. We are streaming live on YouTube. And if you missed last week's show with door knocker maven Cliff Maloney, it's a must listen to. Simply a YouTube Barry Sable show. What you got to do is hit it up and put in the date of 4/13/2025, and you have it. Before I forget, call-in numbers are 855-839-1210. And also, I would be remiss if I didn't thank my friend Steve Diorio, handing out holiday meals to seniors and homeless. Every holiday you make it, and we appreciate you. Love to interact with you today, so please call in. Great show lined up for you today, tomorrow, next week. We are here to please. Pac-Man, good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Barry. And I just want to talk to all our listeners. Happy Passover. Happy Easter. And Uncle Barry, you are looking dapper. I know this is radio. I know this is radio, and it's hard for some people to see. But if you are checking us out on YouTube, man, you are sharp. You know what they say about a sharp-dressed man.
Thank you, my friend. So, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, huge difference in thinking, transitioning, and living. I want to play a clip and then comment on the other side. Let's begin with yesterday, Kirk. Let's go.
They call us the old ones. We were born in the 50s and 60s. We spent our childhood in the 60s.
I don't know. Are you back there? It is. I can't hear it. Oh, all right, gang. Just hang in there with us. Look, it looks like we have a little technical difficulty. Pac-Man, tell us about what the rest of your day is going to look like while we are waiting on Kirk.
Well, that's going to be a great Easter. I'm going to spend some time with my family. My son's home from college. I do see the clip playing on YouTube. I'm not sure if it's going over the air there, Kurt.
I don't hear the video.
Yeah.
The audio, I mean.
Yeah, I don't hear it in here either, but wonder what our listeners are hearing. Oh, we're back. We're back live. We're back live.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, basically, until we get this clip, threw us off a little here. This is an interesting time for us today. And what I really wanted to do was reflect on yesterday as opposed to tomorrow and where we stand and smash in between today, obviously. So yesterday, that's where it came from, today and tomorrow. No clip yet, sir? Oh, you got to be kidding. How can you do later? It's going to blow the whole show, for God's sakes. I mean, come on. All right, listen, what am I going to do? So let me start and give you an inclination of what we're talking about. Yes, today we are known as the old ones. I was born in 1951. Yes, I'm still pretty and still have that baby face, but I am 73 years old and wiser. My dad would say, the years will tell more than the days will ever know. How right he was. I miss him and his foresight. Has mankind kept up with modern technology, I ask? Was simple far superior, better than complication? We studied different, learned how to approach life and its challenges. We learned the basics: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. We didn't have the use of calculators. We learned history, reading and writing. Analog was the world we knew. We all had to learn a language: German, Latin, Spanish, French. We were not all tattooed up pierced, colored hair, pink, blue, green. We represented simplicity, a form of long hair,
and partied
elegance.
in the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
We played in the
We got
neighborhood
married and
with
explored
our
the world
friends.
in the 70s, 80s,
Wiffle ball,
and 90s.
box ball,
We
half
took
ball,
risks in the
wire
80s
ball,
and
stick
90s.
ball.
We
Don't forget
stabilized our
wall
lives
ball.
in the 2000s.
You were
We
there
became
as
wiser
well.
after
You know
2010.
what I'm talking about.
And now we're
Played
probably
pinochle,
walking through the years
filled
after
up
2020.
neighborhood basketball
It
courts
seems
and
we've lived
playgrounds.
through several different
No
decades,
shootings.
2 different centuries,
Ever.
2 different
I
millennia.
ask, was less
we
more?
went from operator-connected
We, at the
telephones
very
to
least,
video calls
knew
with
right
anywhere
from
in the
wrong.
world.
No girls
From
in our
slide
sports,
projectors to
or
YouTube,
vice versa.
from vinyl
And we
records
had
to
more
online
than our
music,
share
from
of
handwritten
trans,
letters to emails
queer,
and WhatsApp,
and gay.
from live radio
We were
broadcasts
inspired.
to black and white
We
TV,
loved
color
our
TV,
country.
and now 3D HD TV.
Are we today
We went to video rental
overdeveloped?
stores,
I ask
and
you.
now we watch
Call
Netflix.
it beyond right.
We witnessed the first
We dated in
computers,
person,
punch cards,
no
floppy
online.
disks,
We didn't
and
need
now
to
we carry
curse
gigabytes
in
and
music
megabytes in
to
our
make a
smartphones.
point. We were
As
Boy
kids,
Scouts,
we
altar
wore
boys,
shorts,
Girl
then
Scouts.
bell-bottoms,
We opened up
Oxford pants,
doors and held
bomber
them for
jackets,
others.
and finally
We never
jeans.
gave someone
We
the
avoided
finger
polio,
on a highway.
meningitis,
We let them
swine
in.
flu,
We had
tuberculosis,
horns,
and now
but we didn't hunk.
COVID-19.
We knew
We
the
rode roller
difference
skates,
and at the
bicycles,
definition
bicycles,
of a
mopeds,
woman and a man.
petrol or diesel cars,
And surely
and now we
didn't
drive
believe
hybrids and electric
men
vehicles.
could get pregnant
Yes, we've
or
been through a
menstruate.
lot.
And
What a
never
life
would
it's been.
believe the Supreme
You could
Court
call us
justice
specimens.
could get
People
confirmed,
born in an analog
not
world who
knowing
grew up
the
in a
answer.
digital era.
How
We've
far,
truly experienced
Pac-Man,
a lot.
have we
We're
come?
witnesses to everything.
Pronouns.
Our generation
He,
has literally
she,
adapted to change.
we.
A big
What
round of
shall I
applause for this
call
entire
you?
generation of
Never
exceptional
thought of
people.
someone
It will be one of a kind.
transgendering. Thank you, Bruce Jenner. How could we possibly communicate confused definitions? Am I wrong to challenge one of these issues? Why is common sense, Pac-Man, no longer common? How can we exist as a functioning society? I say we can't, and we are not. The orange man or no orange man, we are in trouble. We protect gang members rather than normal citizens, or better yet, hostages. Finally, without communication and thoughts of similarities, there is no relationship. Without respect, there is no love. Without trust and rules of guidance, there is no reason to expect success. Pac-Man, take me into today.
Wow, Uncle Barry. Just wow. Amazing.
Thank you, my friend. I
I know
wish we had the audio. Maybe Kirk will pull it up because it's an amazing audio. If you could work on that, Kirk, I'd appreciate it because it is worthwhile listening to. Sorry, Pac-Man, go ahead.
I know you have more. I know you have more for us, but
Yes.
I'm going to get something out here. I want to say real quick that today is tomorrow's yesterday.
I like that. I like that, Pac-Man.
We're a
Say
little,
that again.
today is tomorrow's yesterday.
Oh.
Little different perception for me. I'm a little younger than you, not much, but a little younger than you.
Yep.
I went from boom boxes to Walkmans.
Yep.
I went from desktops to laptops.
Yep.
I went from pinball to Pac-Man.
Ah.
Gilligan's Island to Survivor Island. With singles bars to online dating. Sunday services to Bible study apps.
Yep.
Beeper messages to calls and then back to text messages.
Unbelievable.
Friends and family over for vacation photos and videos to Facebook posts.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with the technology that's happening if we use it correctly. Human communication is lost. What we're saying here, all the things I just said to you right now, it's individualism. We're not talking as a society together.
Yep.
Everything you pointed out in your monologue,
Yep.
we're not communicating together. Everything is about individuals. We're not doing the right thing for groups in the society. That's where our problems lie.
Yep.
We're not communicating. You and I talk constantly, all week long, to prepare for the
50s
show,
and 60s.
to talk about what's
We spent
happening.
our childhood
And
in the
then
60s
in
and
that
70s.
conversation, you asked me
We
about my
studied in
family.
the 70s
I asked you
and
what's going
80s.
on with you.
We dated
We have
and
lost that
partied
as
in
a
the 70s,
society.
80s, and 90s.
And what happens with that
We got
then
married and
is what we
explored
have
the
today.
world in the
We can't
70s,
define what a
80s, and
woman
90s.
is. We
We took
can't have a
risks in the
Supreme
80s
Court
and 90s.
justice because of a political agenda or whatever we hate the orange man, we're going to say, I don't know what a woman is. Well, I know what a woman is. You know what a woman is.
I surely do.
And unfortunately,
I've been single a long time. There's a lot of people out there would attest to that as well. Go ahead.
Right. And it's all to push a certain agenda that maybe we won't accept someone who's transgender. That's preposterous. Of course we do. We live in a free society. What makes our country unique is we protect the freedoms of all.
Not yet. Go ahead. We'll get to it in the second half. So I'm with you. So let me ask you a question then, because some of the things that perturb me, I always ask you what has unnerved you? Cars whiz by at 90 miles an hour on a highway. Music blaring at the same time. Where is consistency going to come from? And from who? Protests beyond belief. Setting our cities on fire. Cops getting shot. Shooting a CEO in the back in cold blood. And plenty praising and raising funds for the murderer. BLM. Top coordinators steal funds. Hamas protesters praising murderers. Where is this to go? What needs to be done? I don't see it. I don't see we being corrected today, my friend. It's wild to see people who robbed us blind trying to justify being upset at us for catching them. What's going on? Tell me. I know that we talked about yesterday. The clip maybe we'll play on the other side because it's a fascinating clip. It's out of sync, but it's okay. Tell me what is really happening today. How do we reel society back into the way it's supposed to be? And I'll leave you. Religion, education, the nuclear family, and country. We need to get back to this, Pac-Man. Today, I didn't really want to get involved in politics. I wanted to talk about society. And that's the purpose of today's show. Pick me up, my friend. Go ahead.
You talk about society. First and foremost, I want our listeners, I'm going to plant something in their head and plant something in your head, too. Could you imagine the founding fathers having to start a country today? Could you imagine that?
No.
Can you start a revolution and talk about freedoms and rights in a chat room? All talk, no action produces no results.
Yeah.
And I think what's going on, and I think the government possibly could be doing this by design. They seem to want to divide us. They seem not to want us to come together and talk. We can't be this far apart on the issues. We're going to go back to the definition of a woman.
Yep.
I can't imagine that everyone on the left agrees to the same thing. It just seems that the loudest ones, the leaders, the 535 that's in Congress, are pushing something, and then we're all supposed to just fall in line with that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big problem for us. First and foremost, what we're doing here is a conversation. You and I are talking. Hopefully our listeners are making them think during our conversations.
It's a holiday time. People are sitting around the table, Passover, Easter. That's the time to communicate with your kids. Listen, before we take a break, I want to give you a little humor for the day.
Okay.
And then maybe Kirk could pull up the clip that I really wanted everybody to hear. Here's a little bit of humor. The relationship between a husband and a wife is psychological. Yep. One is psycho and the other is logical. Kurt, let's take a break. You have been listening to the Barry Sable Show with Friends. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Happy Easter. Happy Passover. We are here. See you on the other side.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, millions of men experience ED, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. At HIMSS, our own board-certified urologist, Dr. Peter Stahl, knows this better than anyone, and he knows that HIMSS can help.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS.
Through HIMSS.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs. Options at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% less than brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Hi, this is Larry Steinhaus, and I want to let you know that I buy houses. I buy houses from people that may be a tired landlord, maybe somebody who's having trouble selling their house, or maybe someone who needs to sell their house quickly. Well, all you need to do is call 855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137, and I promise to answer the phone and help you with your situation. That's right, your house may be cluttered. It may be a house that a relative left you, or it may just be a house you just want to get rid of. 855-939-1137.
Join us at Odyssey as we do our one thing, together millions of things, for our planet. This spring, Fairmount Park Conservancy invites you to connect with your Philadelphia neighborhood parks. Join your local Park Friends group during Love Your Park Week in May, or join us for weekly volunteer events all year long. Fairmount Park Conservancy works with the City of Philadelphia and its communities to bring parks to life. For information and to sign up, visit myphillypark.org.
For a complete list of Talk Radio 1210 WPHT's contest rules, go to 1210WPHT.com/rules.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Keep free speech alive. Follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Yes, indeedy, we are back on this Easter Sunday. Yes, you are listening to the Barry Sable Show with friends. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Pac-Man in studio with me. So, we're a little disheveled over here, but nevertheless, let's see if we can put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Let's give it a shot and play this clip. I thought this clip was so special, and that led into my monologue. So bear with me for a second and just close your eyes and picture, especially those that are 60 and above, where we were during this time. Go ahead, Kirk. Let's give it a shot.
They call us the old ones. We were born in the 50s and 60s. We spent our childhood in the 60s and 70s. We studied in the 70s and 80s. We dated and partied in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. We got married and explored the world in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. We took risks in the 80s and 90s. We stabilized our lives in the 2000s. We became wiser after 2010. And now we're probably walking through the years after 2020. It seems we've lived through several different decades, 2 different centuries, 2 different millennia. We went from operator-connected telephones to video calls with anywhere in the world, from slide projectors to YouTube, from vinyl records to online music, from handwritten letters to emails and WhatsApp, from live radio broadcasts to black and white TV, color TV, and now 3D HD TV. We went to video rental stores, and now we watch Netflix.
Wow.
We witnessed the first computers, punch cards, floppy disks, and now we carry gigabytes and megabytes in our smartphones. As kids, we wore shorts, then bell-bottoms, Oxford pants, bomber jackets, and finally jeans. We avoided polio, meningitis, swine flu, tuberculosis, and now COVID-19. We rode roller skates, tricycles, bicycles, mopeds, petrol or diesel cars, and now we drive hybrids and electric vehicles.
I was there, gang.
Yes, we've been through a lot.
And so were you.
What a life it's been. You could call us specimens, people born in an analog world who grew up in the digital era. We've truly experienced a lot. We're witnesses to everything. Our generation has literally adapted to change, A big round of applause for this entire generation of exceptional people. It will be one of a kind.
Wow. What are your thoughts on that, Pac-Man?
That's pretty deep. It's pretty deep, and it does apply to just about every generation because things are always progressing and changing. We discussed before 1900, basically things were kind of all the same. Wasn't a whole lot of technology, not a bunch changed. But now, well, how we're living, every day changes. The technology we buy today is, obsolete, and it comes out. So our children are living completely different than we lived. Of course, grandchildren are going to be living completely different.
Of course.
But are we, as a society, are we controlling the technology, or is the technology controlling us? So a lot of the things that were mentioned in there, and it's probably a little bit for you, like I said, just a few years older, is where that change came from.
Stop reminding me.
Right. Where that change came from. You went from all your news, and what you mentioned your father early on, he got all his news from a newspaper or a radio program. And then it turned into TV. And then he was listening, if he was watching TV, he was watching Jim Garner give him the facts of what was happening. Now everything's an opinion show. The news is opinion. The news is trying to shape you a certain way, where in turn, we are not communicating. The digital communication isn't working as well as we thought it would. It does assist us, but you can't, if you're not talking in person, even if you're not talking over the phone, you can't get the feel for that conversation. I don't know what your temperament is like. I don't know where your mind is. If I'm texting you something, there's no emotions involved in that.
I agree. I agree. I big complaint on my part all the time. And a lot of misconceptions and misunderstandings. Let me throw something your way that I didn't prepare you for. The weakest men compete with girls. The weakest minds celebrate this. Comment.
Well, I mean, truthfully, a man should not be competing in women's sports. Generally speaking, now, there's a lot of women that are way stronger than I am or way more athletic than I am, but generally speaking, men genetically are stronger than women. We've seen this happen, especially when it comes to the high school and college level, where we're damaging young women, where we'll go back to the volleyball player who has permanent damage her entire life now. She has permanent brain damage, which is affecting everything for her because a man did that.
But here's the point. The weakest minds celebrate this. So there are people out there that celebrate this. Where's the Me Too movement? Where are they to protect their daughters? Why aren't they marching on Washington? I've said this so many times. Let me give you another one. Beautiful things happen when you distance yourself from uninformed, disruptive, and cancerous type people. Your thoughts on that? How do we distance ourselves from a senator that goes down to El Salvador rather than taking an issue as to what has happened in his own state where people and young girls have been murdered? He didn't even comment on that. How do we think about Josh Shapiro, who had a terrible thing happen to him, and I don't make light of that. But when our president got shot at, I didn't hear him say anything about that. With all of the things that are happening negative in this country, he rose to the occasion when it happened to himself. But he didn't rise to the occasion when it's happened to others. What's going on, Pac-Man?
Now, I'm going to address your Me Too movement first. First off, where is the Me Too movement on the Garcia situation where this guy was accused by his wife and the judge agreed and gave the wife a restraining order twice. Twice. It was abusive to his wife twice here in this country. Where's the Me Too movement protecting that woman, saying, do not bring this criminal back. He may harm his wife. It's not there because they're following a different political agenda. Second thing is, yes, the outrage over certain things. Listen, what happened to Governor Shapiro should never, ever happen. I posted personally about it. We talked about it. But again, where's the outrage when this happened to President Trump? Political violence is never acceptable in this country. Unfortunately, the left and the media reports very small amounts of that on when it happens to our side, or I would say the Republican side. Steve Scalise was shot, damn near died.
No question.
And it was a Bernie supporter who was off the rails. But for us, now we have this. They're sensationalizing. They're making another hero out of Garcia, as they did over Floyd, and it shouldn't happen. And we, as a society, should be talking more about that and say, no, that's wrong. We're scared of being canceled. We're not. You and I aren't.
Targeting Supreme Court justices.
Yes.
When you were raising up as a kid yesterday, you would have never dreamed that would have happened. These things are happening today. We're off the charts. We're off the rails. We need to correct. Let me give you another one. Stay away from those who expect you to prioritize them, but don't think twice about putting you last around your Easter table tonight. How do you address that with your son? How do you do that, my friend?
It's not easy to do because of all the information that's coming at him at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And also, he'll be censored or silenced or canceled. We have to stop. As parents and also as common sense individuals, we have to say enough. You don't have to rally around the president, shall I say, but you should rally around right from wrong and what's, common sense.
Yeah.
So one thing I do want to say, Barry, and I'm sorry, we're up against a break, but before we go to break, I really like to get this out there because it pulls full circle to what you're doing, because you're willing to say what you want to say every weekend and make people think. So,
thanks. Thank you.
I just have to say, Uncle Barry, you are bringing it Sunday after Sunday. Top quality shows with guests from Roger Stone, U.S. congressmen, New Jersey governor candidates, door knockers. Who knew about Maloney? Door knockers. You called him Mahoney, but who knew about him?
Yeah.
Retired Air Force colonel, best-selling author and college professors, a former judge who is now shaping the president's America First policies, a U.S. senator. The list goes on and on and on. Every Sunday you keep me on my toes. Every Sunday you make our listeners think. And every Sunday you're here doing this because you love our country.
I do.
You want it to be the way that it was when you were growing up. We weren't perfect, but we cared about country, our freedom of religion, and family. We've gotten away from that, and I appreciate you, and I salute you, Patriot, for doing it every week.
Thank you, my friend. Listen, my thoughts are keep doing your best every day. And if no one is proud of you, be proud of yourself. Kirk, let's take a break. You have been listening to the Barry Sable Show with Friends, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. We will see you on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we give our students credit where credit is due. Credit for deciding in the middle of rush hour traffic to go back and get their bachelor's and a promotion. Credit for managing 3 kids, 2 dogs, and a full-time job to pursue an MBA. And credit for serving in the military by day so they can study cybersecurity at night. For over 75 years, we've been helping students receive the credit they deserve. With more than 135 degrees and certificates, students at UMGC can use prior learning or relevant experience to earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's, and graduate students can transfer up to 12 credits toward their master's. At UMGC, you'll find everything from online to hybrid courses and lifetime career services to scholarship opportunities, making your education journey flexible, fast, and affordable. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start May 14th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-207-4545. That's 800-207-4545. Once again, that's 800-207-4545.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Yes, indeedy, we are back. You are listening on Easter Sunday to the Barry Sable Show with friends. Sitting in studio with me, Pac-Man. Pac-Man, a religious time. I know you want to make a comment towards this president. Why don't you give it to us?
Okay, Uncle Barry, I'm just going to read a headline here from Fox News. Pastor Jeffrey says no president has done more for religious freedom than Donald Trump. And he's saying this because he's showing a picture of our vice president celebrating Easter Mass at the Vatican.
Yes.
And I'd like your thoughts on that. What you think about what's happening with religious freedoms in this country compared to the Biden administration, and now what you see what's happening at the Trump administration.
Well, that's a good point and a good question. You know, growing up as a kid, I went to Hebrew school. And until the age of 13, I mean, you know, after school, I had to go to Hebrew school twice a week. And I valued God. And I have to tell you the truth, I'm not the most devout Jew, even though high holy services are on, as you know, during Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah, and I'm there. I could be a better Jew, I guess, but I value religion. And I think that that's important. And I think that's one of the foundations of this country. I know that at times, who knows what our listenership is on Sunday morning. Everybody talk to, I'm in church at 10 o'clock. So I tell them you have to YouTube us. That's how you could get us. So I think religion is one of the key factors that is the mortar that holds the bricks together. So my comment would be that different people prioritize different things. Look, whether you like Trump or you don't like Trump, it is immaterial. He believes in foundations, and I think that's what we need. Listen, Pac-Man, Lois is on the line from Florida. Jealous as heck, but we have warm weather here today, Lois. You ain't the only one with the sun shining. Good morning. How are you, my friend?
Good morning.
Thank you for
Good morning
calling.
to you.
Thank
Good morning to you. Good morning, Pac-Man. Pac-Man, have a wonderful Easter, Barry.
Yes.
Happy last day of Passover.
Yes, my friend. Thank you. You too.
Whatever it is my rabbi. He's gay. He has a boyfriend. I love him. Every time I go to shul, I get a hug from my rabbi. I don't care who you are, what you believe in. Woman has a V, man has a P. There's no other thing. But if you want to do your lifestyle, do it. Just don't impose it on our children. Don't impose it on anybody else. But one thing is, my granddaughter plays soccer against boys, and she is outstanding. She is wonderful. So I give her really
kudos for that. Kudos for that. Listen, last thoughts. You listen to my brief monologue. You listen to the clip. Anything you want to say about that before I leave you go?
No, I just think you guys, Pac-Man and you, are both on the mark. And Pac-Man, happy Easter. Very happy last day of Passover.
Thank you, my
have
friend.
a wonderful day, okay?
You too. Thanks so much for the call. So let me get back to you, Pac-Man. Kash Patel is investigating Nancy Pelosi's involvement with the orchestrating of January 6th. All this rubble and mumble and bumble about January 6th, and he is looking at staff records and phone calls. Wouldn't this be something after all this? Not shocking to most. Your thoughts on that, my friend?
Well, first and foremost, I was at the White House on January 6th. I listened to the president's speech. I thought it was great. Nothing he said motivated me to go storm the Capitol. We got in our car and drove home. One thing I did notice on that day, Barry, and I kept saying it, and I've been to Washington a lot, over 25 times during President Trump's first term. And something in my mind was going, something's different here today. And what it was lack of security.
Yes.
I was on the grounds of the White House, and I'm like, I am awful close to the White House, and I was never, and I was invited to the White House. I went to the Easter egg roll 2 times, the whole thing. No security. And so Kash Patel is a very smart person. If I could figure out that something was not correct that day, I'm sure he can, and they should be held accountable. More because, A, you made good people do stupid things. They entered the building. They should have never entered the building. And also, 2 people lost their lives that day, and that should be investigated. And if Nancy Pelosi was involved in reducing security so that she can have
Lock
a riot,
her up,
if. So let's hear the real story. Let our Department of Justice, our investigative departments go through this and show everything to the American people instead of the one-sided media saying that President Trump caused a riot or an insurrection that never happened.
Which offered National Guard. And he knew that there was going to be 1 million people there. Why bring in the National Guard and keep them there for months later after that experience? It didn't make any sense. You talk about security. Governor Murphy of New Jersey orders police to stop cooperating with ICE. You know, I keep going back to what my monologue was. This would have never happened years ago. Democrat or Republican in office, it didn't happen. What's going on today before we get to tomorrow? What's going on?
Today is somewhat of a disaster. And what are we leaving for tomorrow? So you're telling me that a governor of a state can make up the law himself then? I am not going to enforce ICE detainer law.
I get it.
Orders. ICE detainer orders. That comes from the federal government.
From the executive branch, for God's sakes.
Right. And he's saying he's not going to do it. Then he also said that he was housing an illegal above his garage.
I know. It's crazy.
If we don't have basic law and order, we don't have a country. We don't have a country. And it's wrong. And this is why I tell people over and over and over again, please do your research on people that you're electing.
Of course.
Don't let the media tell you orange man bad. You know, maybe you should look into what this guy is actually
what a family
doing.
Man. How about that? How about after getting shot, the first thing he wants to know is to his granddaughter, how was your golf game today?
Right.
Come on. Let me bounce another thing off you in regards to Robert Kennedy. 22% of SNAP food spent on junk food. The man's trying to say, hey, we are an obese society. Let's cut it out. Let's get us healthy. And people are fighting him, Pac-Man. Why? Why?
Because Donald Trump appointed him. That's why. Normally, they were saying, it's funny, when Michelle Obama was in charge of the school lunches and she made school lunches absolutely unedible for children, I understand they would prefer the junk food. But literally, they were saying that it was unedible and the kids were not eating then because it was so bad. So here's a happy medium. The guy is trying to say, listen, you can have a McDonald's cheeseburger, but in moderation. You can have this. What he's saying here is if you're receiving federal benefits for you to purchase food because you can't afford it, you should not be able to buy junk food with it. Buy some healthy, nutritious food or just the basics. And why are we getting pushback from that? If anyone else would say, if Biden would have said it, the media would have loved it and there'd be no problem. But unfortunately, just because it's President Trump's appointment, it's the end of the world. So you're telling people that are getting assistance or using our tax dollars so we could feed them, that sure, they can buy Doritos and all this other stuff. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Pac-Man, kind of rapid fire here. United States being ripped off. Now nations we have been protecting are lining up for trade deals with us. What are your thoughts on that? Everybody's worried about the stock market. I spoke to a stock market specialist yesterday, and he kind of yelled at me. He said, Barry, you know better. Ups and downs, ins and outs. This is the way things go. The market reacts to so many things. And frankly, when you talk about the market, you're only really talking about 30 or 40 major stocks. Okay? So that's really been ups and downs and ins and outs. So the bottom line is that we need to protect us. Isn't it about time? Can we salute someone that cares about Americans, Pac-Man?
Listen, we really should be doing that. President Trump, what he's doing is, first of all, just trying to level the playing field. If tariffs were so bad, how come we're allowing other countries to have tariffs on us, but as soon as we put a tariff on them, it's the end of the world? It should be a level playing field. Either everyone has the same exact tariffs or we have no tariffs, which actually the president said he doesn't want tariffs. Yeah. Free trade. He wants us to make things here. The reason being is not because, listen, it does help with jobs, but it's also for our security. We cannot have China making our medications.
Yes.
We can have China making all of the computer parts that steals our intelligence. If we can't be buying oil. Yes. We can't be buying oil from foreign countries.
Or lumber, or a lot of things, for God's sakes. If we would just get off our tuchuses and go to work a little harder than we are. I'm so sick and tired. You can't get anybody on the phone, for God's sakes. You call, it goes to voicemail. I don't care if you're dating them. They don't answer the phone. What the heck? And you're talking about improving this country? Listen, yesterday, we didn't have cell phones. You wanted to go see somebody, you knocked on their friggin' door. You found them. They were around. Now, with all the technology, you can't get somebody's voice in your eardrums. Come on, Pac-Man. I'm sick of it.
Actually, Uncle Barry, you're right. You're right. And I catch myself doing it. You are probably one of the only person that I talk to consistently.
Not all the time.
We do.
I call you, you just don't answer the phone. I get it.
Well,
life is
going
activities.
On.
It's okay.
But what's happening, though, is that we are losing touch with our friends, with our family, with everyone, even business associates. A lot of people, I call them, they have their car in the shop. I want to tell them what's wrong. They're just saying, oh, just send me a text. Let me know. I'd rather talk to them in person so they can understand what I'm doing to their vehicle and do that. But you're correct. The technology is great. I welcome technology, but we also have to bring it in. And instead of it controlling us, we need to control it. And I think a lot of our problems would be solved if we just started communicating in person.
Yep. Listen, this past week or so, maybe it was a little longer, a federal judge clears way for national registry for immigrants in U.S. illegally to register fingerprints and carry ID card or face criminal prosecution. Judge Trevor McFadden denied the coalition's request to freeze policy before it went into existence this past Friday. I mean, thank God. We have to, in my mind, we talk about immigration all the time. We have to make sure that we know who and where everybody is in this country to the extent that, not in movement of an individual, but you get the point. If you're here and you're illegally here, we need to know who you are now. And if not, I don't care if you've been here for 10 years, you catch them, deport them. You have a responsibility to this country to tell people who you are. And if your intentions are honorable, just come forth, Pac-Man.
It's just common sense. It's just common sense. You know what was funny? That we let everyone over the border without knowing who they were, just kept letting them going, not ignoring our laws. But the funny thing is that we want to deport one person, and now they want to apply every law imaginable to this guy, his rights. What rights do you have if you enter our country illegally? If he was here legally and we deported him, okay, we got a problem.
Of course.
Wasn't here legally. So this is the double standard that we see. As soon as you enter our country illegal, you don't have rights. Now, are there good people that are here? Are there good people that have been here for a very long time?
Of course.
What you said before is common sense. Tell us who you are. Tell us where you're at. And just like we have to have IDs, everyone else should have IDs. And also, if you're not a citizen of this country, you should not be allowed to vote in any election whatsoever. It's just common sense.
I agree. Listen, the secret of freedom lies in educating people, whereas the secret of tyranny is keeping them ignorant. Think about that on the break. You have been listening to the Barry Sable Show with friends. Talk radio, only 1210 WPHT. Hope you're having a great holiday. See you on the other side.
Prescription products require completion of an online medication consultation with an independent healthcare provider through the LifeMD platform and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Individual results may vary. Additional restrictions apply at lifemd.com. Read all warnings before using GLP-1s. Side effects may include a risk of thyroid C-cell tumors. Do not use GLP-1s if you or your family have a history of thyroid cancer.
Should GLP-1 weight loss medication like Wegovy and Zepbound cost thousands of dollars? We don't think so. TryLifeMD.com helps provide insurance access to the leading GLP-1 medications. Visit TryLifeMD.com and check your eligibility for GLP-1 medication with copays as low as $0. Listen to Bridget's story after losing 55 pounds and using her insurance for coverage.
LifeMD helped me get covered with my insurance. Finding out that it was covered was huge. I've lost 55 pounds. I am so much healthier now that I've lost the weight. I would never be able to do it without them.
Get started today and check your eligibility for GLP-1 medication with copays as low as $0 at TryLifeMD.com. That's TryLifeMD.com.
From D.C. to CBP, the Phils welcome the Nats to South Philly on Tuesday, April 29th, Wednesday, April 30th, and Thursday, May 1st, all at 6:45. Don't miss the action and get tickets now at Phillies.com. Let's be frank. You don't want to miss Hatfield Phillies Frank's BOGO Night. Get 2 hot dogs for $5 on Tuesday, April 29th when the Phils play the Nats at 6:45. Order tickets now at Phillies.com.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 103.9 FM.
The suspect in the firebombing of the Pennsylvania governor's residence telling a 911 operator he did it, explaining why. And an utterly lost Cal in Gloucester County gets some help from the community getting home.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
At IHOP, you can get a satisfying, craveable breakfast for only $7 with IHOP's House Faves. Enjoy fluffy buttermilk pancakes, your choice of hickory smoked bacon or pork sausage, and eggs your way with the Breakfast Faves combo. Or enjoy a savory ham and cheese omelet, French toast breakfast, or house scramble, all for just $7 each. Stop by today and try any of IHOP's House Faves. Available weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., all for just $7. For a limited time, dine-in only. Price and participation may vary by location.
Get your tickets now for Joe Conklin's comedy show at St. Matt's on Fayette Street in Conshohocken, Saturday, April 26th, supporting Plymouth Whitemarsh High School baseball.
It was fun. Hysterical.
Super funny. For tickets, go to joeconklin.com. joeconklin.com!
Pastor Brad Lacey here, First Baptist Church, Conshohocken. Join us Saturdays for the great message and be blessed. 5 a.m. right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Free speech lives here on Odyssey's #1 talk station. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Yes, indeedy, you are listening to the Barry Sable Show with friends. Happy holidays to you, and we wish you and your family the best.
Hey, hang on, Uncle Barry. Hang on. You do a lot of talking on this show, okay? You know what I want to know? How does Barry Sable go from jeweler to the stars, professional real estate developer, very successful with it? How did you wind up on radio? How did you get here? And what drives you to come in every Sunday morning and do this?
All right, you're going to pry it out of me, I see.
I see. You never talk about yourself. I want to know about you.
So, I had a relationship with David Yageroff in the past, and as we all know, he manages 5 or 6 of the radio stations in the Philadelphia area. And I called him one day, and I said, "Look, David, you know, you have talk radio. I want to be on your station, 1210 WPHT." He said to me, "Let me put you in touch with Greg Stocker," which he did. I had lunch. Stocker looked at me, knew I was a whirling dervish, was afraid to say no. And he said to me, "What do you have in mind?" I said, "I want to do a show dating 50 and above." There's so many people that are older that just, they don't know where to go. They get divorced or they're separated or whatever else may be, and they're looking to find somebody. So I said, let me think about how I want to exactly do this. Precisely, I'll lay out a format. He asked me to put something together and do a demo tape, which I did. And what had happened is I was selling some property, and I met a beautiful, light-skinned black girl that was stunning. I mean, physique, her way, her nature, her culture, everything about her was perfect as a co-host for me. And I said to her, "Will you do this with me?" And she said, "I would love to." 2 weeks later, we go in the studio once or twice. She calls me and says, "I have bad news." "Bad news? What's bad news?" "I'm moving to Dallas, Texas." And she moved. So that blew that idea. And I said, "I have the ear of this radio station. Let me see what I could do." I went back. I said to Stocker, "Give me a week." Gave me a week. I came back, went to friends of mine, had them over for dinner, and said, listen, guys, I want to do a radio show, and I want 3 or 4 of you guys to participate. We're going to call it the Barry Sable Show with Friends. We're going to talk about politics. And that's how that all took place. It's unbelievable because, to be honest with you, sometimes I pinch myself because on a morning like today, maybe you'll have 10,000 listeners, plus all your YouTube and during the week. And as you know, we're on Saturday nights from 8 to 9 with our reruns. I pinch myself because it's a privilege to be on radio. It's a real privilege to have people listen to you and comment and believe in some of the things you're saying. But at least it's dialogue, like you say. And I want you to know, from the guys that helped me create this show all the way up to you, I am forever thankful to each one of those guys, because this show would not be where it is today. We are now almost 2 years on the air. Who would have ever believed, Pac-Man?
Wow. That's a great story. And, you know, unfortunately, you're stuck with me now and not the beautiful girl in the dating show. And, you went into this, and now it's more of a political show, but it's turning more into a communication show. Right. It's also turning into, you always talk about the fabric of the country. And our listeners, I want you to really know that Barry puts his heart and soul into this thing.
Thank you.
And he really does.
You're going to make me blush.
Yes. And you look so dapper. I can't make you blush,
Thank
you know?
Thank you. I had to look the part today. It's a holiday. But before you say anything, I want people to know Pac-Man is not going to be with me next weekend. He has some family duties. Ushi Kessler is going to be in studio with me. Olympic skater from overseas. A little older woman like myself, involved in ice volleys, and today Penny's in action. A must listen to. She is a fascinating lady to talk about how many people not only did she skate, but she has trained since then to go on to be in the Olympics. So if you get a chance next Sunday, 10 o'clock, I hope you'll listen in. She's something special. Go ahead, Pac-Man. I didn't want to forget that.
No problem. And also, too, for our listeners, you can always check us out on YouTube. All the shows are up there on the 1210 YouTube
and the
page.
Odyssey app. Am I correct?
The Odyssey app. We're always on Odyssey app. They're replaying us on Saturday night, 8 to 9, which is funny because we turned it on last night at the house. My son's home from college. His girlfriend was there. I said, put 1210 on. He's going, who's that guy talking? I said, it's your father. He said, oh, boy.
Hard to believe. Listen, Pac-Man, because we only have another 4 or 5 minutes left, I want you to take me to today. I kind of had, it was mumble jumble with being off a little bit today with the clip. And you saw that I was leading into what was yesterday like. I know to a certain extent we've talked about today. I want to talk about what's going to be tomorrow. That's my concern for kids, for grandkids, for our society. Why don't you lead me out a little bit and give me your impression of where we are leading to?
Well, the one statement that I wrote down, I put digital communication has replaced personal communication, and this is going to be our demise.
Yep.
You can't determine feelings through a text or an email, which we mentioned before.
Yep.
I'm also wondering, is our government doing on purpose? Is the big media involved? And the reality is, if we allow this to happen, I think it will be the demise of our country. So you are doing your part. You're on this radio program. I'm trying to do my part by being involved in politics and getting good people elected.
Yep.
And on this show, too, also trying to provide some good feedback for you. But our listeners could do their part, too, by just go out and talk to people. Also, send this show to their friends. Say, hey, click this out. Listen to these two guys here. We're just two normal people. And if you think about it, if we can do this, others can do this.
Of course.
And
everybody has to participate. That's what you're really saying. It's not a one-man show. We can't depend on Trump and his cabinet to set this story straight. And I ask everybody, I don't care if it's a Democrat or a liberal or a Republican, everybody has to pay attention. And let's start doing what's best for American citizens in this country. And let's start worrying more about us.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts for the day on this holiday time. Go ahead, Pac-Man. What do we do? We're out today at 56. That means you've got a minute or 30 seconds, and maybe I could wrap up. Go ahead, Pac-Man. Why don't you take us home?
Well, the most important thing is patriotism. We should love our country. It's not perfect. It's never been perfect. It's never going to be perfect. But we should love the freedoms that this country allows us.
Yes.
With those freedoms come responsibility.
Go visit Russia. Go visit China. Go visit Venezuela. Go visit these countries, Iran, or places of like that, North Korea, and see what it's like to live where there is no freedom. Think about Iran today, not Iran, Afghanistan, what they did to women. They put them back in the Stone Ages again. We have freedoms, and we need to not abuse it, Pac-Man. Go ahead. I interrupted.
That's okay. We also need to protect those freedoms. So it's very, very important that we send the right people to Washington to represent us.
Yes, sir. Listen, thank you, Pac-Man, for coming in on a holiday. I appreciate you. Kirk, on the other side of the glass, I appreciate you. For those that are listening, I appreciate you. Leadership is not the power to command, but the courage to serve. Delaware Valley on your busy Sunday, holiday Easter, grateful to you for spending some time with us. You have been listening to the Barry Sable Show with friends. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Have a great week, a healthy week, a safe week. And we will see you next weekend with Ushi Kessler. Thanks for always being there for me. I appreciate you.
Next the walls were closed on me, and I discovered that my castle stand upon pillars of salt and pillars of sand.
Attention, have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt?